So recently, a lot of people have been making it known that they want the next Cyberpunk game, codenamed Orion, to be a third-person experience, or at least they want to have the option to go between first-person and third-person, much like a Bethesda game. This has come around because CD Projekt Red doesn't really know what they want to do for the next game, whether they want it to be a first-person game or a third-person game. And I've read a lot about this. I've seen articles, I've seen tweets, and most of the people, they have good points, but overall, I disagree. I don't think Cyberpunk becoming a third-person shooter would be a good idea. And so for today, I want to briefly talk about my thoughts and opinions on this whole thing. And, I want to hear from everyone else as well. So after this video is done, just go ahead and leave a comment down below. But, don't be this dude, please. And I'm not really going to get all deep about this. I'm not a video game designer or anything like that. I'm just a video game fan. I play video games all day long. So this is just my personal opinion. So one of my reasons for wanting the next Cyberpunk game to remain a first-person only experience is that CD Projekt Red designed 2077 with first-person in mind. From the environment, the dialogue, and the fast-paced and intense combat, this game's all about immersion. And, the first-person perspective, in my opinion, is the best way to fully immerse yourself into the character that V is. Now, I have friends that have told me that for them, being able to see the character that you create is more immersive. Now, I'm not going to say that they're wrong. For them, it's immersive for them. All I'm going to say is that when you wake up in the morning every day and put on your clothes, you don't get to see how you look until you get in front of a mirror. When playing an RPG where you are this self-inserted character, I think that a first-person view is the best way to immerse yourself in the world that's being built around you. And that's why Cyberpunk was built as a first-person only game. A lot of people I talked to brought up how great The Witcher 3 was as a third-person experience. And, I agree. Witcher 3 for me was a game of the decade. However, bringing up the success of Witcher 3 doesn't really matter when talking about changing Cyberpunk. That is what's called a confirmation bias, and it doesn't really solve the problem because I could just go, hey, look at how popular Cyberpunk 2077 is doing now. The formula works, so there's no need to change it, right? And now we're back to square one, see? My next issue with a third-person Cyberpunk game is that the dialogue system wouldn't be as impactful. While talking with V, other characters move freely around the area like a normal person would in a conversation. As much as I love Bethesda, I have to pick on them, because as great as Starfield is, the way dialogue is conducted in that game is dated. Everyone just stands there like their legs don't work. Cyberpunk made their conversation cinematic. You don't just stand in one spot with a stick up your ass. You can read characters' facial expressions, their body language. You can even talk to multiple characters at once. It's like having an actual conversation. All the while V can, for the most part, move about freely. None of this is really new, but Cyberpunk does it so well that it stands out. The last issue I have is combat. It would definitely suffer in the third person. Cyberpunk's combat was built with first person in mind. Sound familiar? To change it to a third person would require a complete overhaul on the combat. So much would have to change that the game would lose what makes it fun and unique. One thing people like to say to argue this point is, well, why not just have a third person as an option? This is something I cannot believe people actually say with confidence. Let's pick on Starfield again. This game allows you to toggle between first and third person view. Out of all the first person games I have ever played, I would not even put this game in my top 10 of games with good first person shooter mechanics. Games like Cyberpunk, Doom, Rage, and even Atomic Heart are above it, and I'm not even including multiplayer games. I've even played it in third person just to see how it compares. Wouldn't even make it into my top 20 of games with good third person shooting mechanics. Giving players the option between the two perspectives sounds like a good idea when you say it out loud, until you realize how much would have to change to make that happen. And even then, the game would not be as good as it could have been if it had just focused on one perspective. Now, ultimately, the devs are going to do what they want. If they have some reason as to why they're going to change it from a first-person game to a third-person game, then there's nothing I can do about that. I'll probably still play the game either way because I love Cyberpunk. But I am hoping they decide to stick with the current formula because honestly, it's the best for the game, in my opinion. However, that's all I have to say about this topic. If you want to talk about it more and have your own opinions to share, please leave them down in the comments down below. If you like the video and you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button, leave me a like, and I will catch you in the next one.